Hi, everybody. Steve McGill here of HurdlesFirst.com and the Hurdle Magazine. And we'll talk some today about the start from the starting blocks to the first hurdle. Okay, so the approach to the first hurdle will be our focus today. The way I coach it, the start is the last piece that I put in after everything else. If you follow my YouTube channel, you know that my athletes do a lot of drills, and I want them to master those drills so that when it comes time to actually go full speed ahead out of the starting blocks, they don't have to think about their technique. They can just focus on the start and start mechanics and getting good position at the first hurdle. They can trust their technique at that point. Okay, so if we work on the start too early, before the drills have been mastered, then we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, which means that the mechanics will create the flaws, and mechanics will create issues that we don't want to have to address when we're going full speed. Okay, so from the blocks to the first hurdle is all about putting yourself in position to do the things that you learned in the drills. So in the drills, we're teaching you to cycle the legs. We're teaching you to keep it fluid, to keep it flowing. We want to push off the back leg and drive the lead leg knee forward. Um, those things can't happen. You can't do those things efficiently and effectively if you're not taking off close enough, or if you're too upright, or what have you. Okay, so put the start in last, because once you put the block start in, now it's time to really rock and roll. Okay, um, I always have my athletes first practice or start with no hurdles. That's from when they first start doing block start practice. We'll start with no hurdles, and every session that we practice our start, the first couple of reps will be without hurdles. Okay, why do we do that? Because we want to emphasize the fact that you are sprinters over these hurdles, and hurdlers will always tend to overthink the hurdle part, and the presence of the hurdle will lead them to stand up too soon or get their eyes up too soon because they're thinking about clearing the hurdle, obviously. So when I was living in Raleigh, back in the day, 5, 6, 7 years ago, a friend of mine who was a sprint coach would work with my hurdlers on their sprint start without the hurdles, and I would say just do it as if they'll never have to clear hurdles. Okay, teach them as if they're just 100-meter runners. Okay, because it's easiest for me as a hurdle coach to take that 100-meter runner start and adapt it to the space that they have to get to the first hurdle. Okay, easy to shorten things up and quicken things up. All right, so I want my hurdlers to drive. Okay, as if they're coming out of the blocks for a 100-meter dash. Okay, so the first two strides. So let's say we're talking about an 8-step hurdler. Okay, your first two strides, you want to drive it like you are a 100-meter runner. Okay, boom, boom, big push, big forward push out of the blocks, big exaggerated arm swing, eyes down, head down, for two good strides. Okay, then on the third stride, we want to get our eyes on the crossbar. Okay, and when we get our eyes on the crossbar, we don't want to stand up. Okay, so you want to. I was telling my hurdlers, get your eyes up, but keep pushing, keep driving. Okay, a lot of hurdlers will either jump, stand up out of the blocks. If their block setting is like, if they're too bunched in the blocks or something like that, they might just stand up straight out of the blocks. Okay, or a more common mistake actually is when the people will drive out effectively, but when after they drive out and they start to stand up, they'll stand up too much too soon. Okay, taking away all their forward momentum. So I always tell my hurdlers that step 3, get your eyes up, but stay driving. So it's like 1, 2, 3. Okay, now my eyes can see the hurdle. That's all I need. I don't have to be here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That's all I need. I can see the hurdle. Okay, and then steps 4 and 5, you continue to rise gradually, and your strides will be getting longer. Okay, and then strides 6, 7, and 8, I say, are your hurdle rhythm strides, because each of those strides will get successively shorter. 1, 2, 3. Okay, or 6, 7, 8, I should say, which will match the 1, 2, 3 between the hurdles for the rest of the race. Okay, so those last 3 strides, stride 6, 7, and 8, are your hurdle rhythm strides. You want to get into your race rhythm in those last 3 strides. So If your early strides are too short, you don't get enough push out of the blocks, and you have to elongate your strides as you get nearer the hurdle, that's going to take away a whole lot of momentum you need once you're getting off the first hurdle and into the race. Okay, so we don't want to have to lengthen our strides as we get near that first hurdle in order to get the takeoff distance that we want. Okay, get your takeoff distance early. Okay, steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So those last 3 strides can be quick feet strides, similar to the kind of quickness you want to have throughout the rest of the race. Okay. Other thing I would add is that you want to drive through the first hurdle. You don't necessarily want to be at full height at hurdle 1. Okay, you don't need to be at full height at hurdle 1. You want to be tall enough to clear the hurdle, but still you should still be rising to full height. You should not be at full height yet at hurdle 1. Okay, so now I want to take a look at a couple videos and some still photos from those videos. The first video will be my man Brandon Johnson, who I've been coaching the last couple of years, who's been hurt a lot this year. I'll take a look at a block start rep of his, and then take a look at another video of Brandon with Malik Mixon, the kid I always talk about, who comes up from Georgia to train with us. Brandon and Malik did some block starts, competitive starts, a few months ago before Brandon got injured with his ankle, and take a look at a rep from one of those from that particular session. I think it was back in November or December or so. So take a look at Brandon's video first here. Okay, let's take a look at the video full speed first. Okay, there we go. All right, and now let's take a look at some of the still photos from that video. Okay, so we can break down what he was doing. Okay, so here we go. So first photo here, we see Brandon in this marked position, eyes down, head down, ready to attack the hurdle. Okay. Next photo here, he's in set position. You can see that his eyes and head are down. A lot of hurdlers will kind of peek their eyes forward a little bit in set position. We don't want to do that. Okay, keep your eyes down, head down, neck relaxed, as if you were a 100-meter runner, like Brandon's doing here. Okay, and you see his back leg is high enough that he's tilting slightly forward, and his shoulders are over the start line, so that when he pushes out, he's going to push out forward. He's going to drive. He's not going to stand up. Okay, next photo. Okay, step 1, we see him driving out. Okay, he's driving forward. You can see the high arm swing, which is what we want. We want the exaggerated arm swing. And Brandon, I should mention, is a 7-stepper. Okay, so he really needs that exaggerated arm swing, so he can really get himself going. His last 3 steps will be hurdle steps 5, 6, and 7. So his first 4 strides have to be big strides. Okay, so here's stride 1, looking good, eyes down, head down, big arm swing. Okay, now stride 2, same thing, eyes down, big arm swing. All right, so he's starting to look up a little bit here, and as a 7-stepper, that's okay. That's actually preferable. For a 7-stepper at stride 2, you want to start getting your eye on crossbar, which is what he's doing here. But you see his upper body posture; he's still very forward. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, now he's starting to get close to the hurdle, step 3 here, and as a 7-stepper, even step 3, you still want to have a big arm swing like he does there. Okay, and he's starting to really push. Okay, stride 4. Okay, we still have the big arm swing. He's getting taller. He's not erect though. Okay, tall is good. Erect is not good. Okay, tall means you're running on the balls of your feet. It means that now he's getting knee lift. First couple strides, we don't want knee lift. We want to drive. But now step 4, we're getting some knee lift. Okay, but the upper body posture remains forward. Okay, close to the hurdle. Same thing here. Okay, and now we're getting close to the hurdle. Now you're seeing his stride starting to get shorter. This is stride number 5 here. You're seeing that his strides are getting shorter. His arm swing is getting lower, okay, as he's preparing to attack the hurdle, which is what we want, okay. And now he's 2 steps away from the hurdle. This is step number 6, okay. And the same thing, lower arm carriage, but we're still maintaining the upper body forward angle, okay. He's a lot taller than he was at step one, obviously, but he's not at full height. We don't want to be at full height going into hurdle one, at any point going into hurdle one. And then step 7, which is his penalty, which is his last stride into the hurdle. We're seeing that this is his shortest stride of the bunch, what we call the cut step, and he's putting himself in good position to attack the hurdle and do the things that we practiced in the drills. Okay, and now over the hurdle we see that he is nice and forward, good arm action. He's tilted a little bit, but that's not too big of a deal. Because when you lean over that lead leg a little bit, that's kind of okay. That's not really creating balance issues. Okay, but his 7-step approach here, put him in position to attack the hurdle from a good takeoff distance and with a very good cut step into the hurdle. Okay, now let's take a look at this video of a rep that he did with Brandon. He is Brandon. He did with Malik a few months ago. Let's take a look at it at full speed first. Okay. So Brandon is a 7-stepper and Malik is an 8-stepper.
Go.
Okay. So as you can see, Brandon won the rep, so to speak. He beat Malik to the first hurdle. Now let's take a look and see what happened that caused Malik to fall behind. If it was it just the 7 steps, or were there things that Malik could have done better? 7-step versus 8-step is not always going to be the difference to the first hurdle. Plenty of 8-steppers can beat 7-steppers to the first hurdle. Okay, let's look at the first photo. Okay, as they're both taking their first step, we can already see that Brandon has a more exaggerated arm swing than Malik does. Okay, now the argument there would be that's okay because taking 8 steps, you don't need to swing the arms as forcefully as you are if you're taking 7 steps. So we can make the argument, but still, I would say that Malik is not coming out as powerfully as Brandon is here. So Brandon's on the right, and Malik's on the left. Okay, Brandon light skin, Malik dark skin. All right. Next photo. All right, this is I think Brandon's 2nd step, and Malik's 3rd. All right, you can already see here that Malik's starting to stand up too soon. Okay, so he not only has his eyes up, but his upper body is coming up too. Okay, whereas Brandon is still driving forward, and he still has the powerful arm swing. Okay, that's going to become more exaggerated with each photo. Okay, next photo. All right, same thing. Next photo. Okay, here we go. So look how erect Malik is here. I think this is 4th step or 5th, probably 5th or 6th step here. So Malik is very erect. Malik on the left there, and Brandon, who's slightly ahead of him at this point, is much more forward. Okay, so Brandon is further down the track by a little bit, but he's more forward than Malik. So I can already tell you that Malik stood up too tall too soon, and thereby took away his own forward momentum by doing so. Another way to put it is he was more focused on the hurdle than he was on getting out and driving. Okay. Next photo. Same thing. Brandon's starting to pull away a little bit, and Malik is way too tall at this point for what we would prefer. Okay. And going into the hurdle, we can see that Brandon has that good attack position that he had before in the previous video, and Malik will have to lean much more deeply to get his forward momentum over the hurdle. Okay, so coming from that erect position that Malik is, his lean will have to be very deep in order to create forward momentum. Whereas Brandon is already forward, and so he only has to lean a little bit more over the hurdle. Okay, so what's that mean? Why does that matter? It means that Brandon, by already being forward between the hurdles, will have less work to do than Malik will when it comes to clearing every hurdle. Okay, and less work, more ease of motion means faster races. Okay, so there we go with that. All right, so overall, my advice would be to think of the from the blocks to the first hurdle as a race unto itself. Okay, touchdown on first hurdle as a race unto itself. And the simplest cue I can give you is stay forward. Stay forward, stay forward, stay forward, stay forward, stay forward. Okay? Don't pop up out of the blocks. Don't pop up when you look up. Don't pop up or stand up when you're about to attack the hurdle. Stay forward, stay forward, stay forward, stay forward, stay forward. Okay? It's if you want to simplify it, that's the language I would use to simplify it. 2 words. Stay forward. All right. So that's all I have for today. And as usual, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments or what have you. So yeah, I think what's the plan for next week? I think the plan from here is to go back and review some of the drills that I use and kind of explain the philosophy behind them and show some examples of them. So I'll probably start with the marching pop over next week, or I might instead talk about the phases of the race, from the first zone to the second zone to the third zone, and kind of explain how that works. I think I'll do that first. Yeah. All right, then. Peace.